The Summer Palace is one of China's largest royal gardens, constructed over 260 years ago. It was the Qing dynasty's Empress Dowager Cixi's and Emperor Guangxu's retreat to cultivate both their mind and body. The architecture of the Summer Palace is mainly of the traditional Chinese style, and every piece of architecture has its own special significance, meaning, and function, as well as, of course, its own special name. Starting off, here we have Renshou Hall, where when the emperor was vacationing, he would hold his meetings with his ministers as well as foreign dignitaries, and its name explained in Chinese translates to long-lasting peace. As you can see, directly across the copper-cast gargoyle-like statue is meant to symbolize authority. Now, we are coming to the Hall of Happy Life, or in Chinese, 乐寿堂. It was here where the Empress Dowager Cixi lived while in the Summer Palace. And as the Chinese of old would place importance on a term, they have meaning facing to the south. It was in this way, with this design, where the full extent of sunshine could be enjoyed. Thus, the Chinese call this abode 北房, meaning the northern house. And it should be noted that only the heads of the royal household were allowed to live here. The long corridor, in Chinese 长廊, is where the emperor and empress would usually take their strolls. And as well as with the Summer Palace Kunming Lake and Mountain of Long Life, for the purpose of beautifying and enriching the scenery for the emperor and empress, artisan painters adorned the surrounding buildings and bricks with beautifully depicted characters, as well as natural scenes brimming with mountains and rivers, flora and fauna, all colorfully painted, and all to provide the emperor and empress with ornate eye candy to appreciate. Among the walkways of all of China's royal gardens, the Summer Palace Long Corridor is the longest, stretching 728 meters in length, and in November 1998 was officially listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Cloudline Gate, in Chinese, 排云门, is the main piece of architecture around the way of the Cloudline Hall, or 排云殿, and the Tower of Buddhist Incense. The Cloudline Hall was also an abode of the Empress Dowager Cixi, a place where she celebrated her birthday, a place which implied agelessness and long life. And here, the tall tower of Buddhist incense is also symbolic of the Summer Palace architecture. It is said that, originally, the Empress Dowager Cixi wanted to have her sleeping chambers located here, but as soon as construction was completed, she fell ill, and she believed it might have been owed to the foreboding fact that this hall was located too near to the Buddha's gate of the Tower of Buddhist Incense, and wasn't suited for long-term stay. Whereupon, she later decided to relocate her chambers to the Hall of Happy Life, in Cloudline Hall thereafter, only functioned as the place where she would receive homage from her subjects on her birthday. Moving up from the Cloudline Hall is the Summer Palace main piece of architecture, the Tower of Buddha Incense, the most recognizable symbol of the Summer Palace. And after ascending up to the tower, as well as being able to feast one's eyes on the full view of Kunming Lake, one can also look out upon the city of Beijing, which was even clearer before the modern days of high-rise buildings and skyscrapers. Kunming Lake, Chinese classical design, always strove to combine the natural elements of mountains, water, and the flora. And thus, the Summer Palace signature natural scenery is represented with Kunming Lake and the Mountain of Long Life, also known as Wanshou Shan. There is a motto of Chinese garden design: where there is water, there are boats, but boats of wood can be blown away by the wind. Boats of stone needn't worry. At the same time, there is another saying in the classical Chinese: water can keep boats afloat, as well as move them along. And the emperors of China always hoped that their reign would be like that of a stone ship, in that no matter how the wind blew or how the tides turned, their reign, as with the stone ship, wouldn't capsize. In 1755, masons used large stones to build the Summer Palace marble boat. And it was here the Empress Dowager Cixi would dine and appreciate her majestic surroundings. The Qianlong Emperor toured the south of the Yangtze River for several times during his reign, and resided in Jichang Garden in Huishan, Wuxi for 7 times. After he returned, to enjoy the beautiful sceneries of the south of the Yangtze River without traveling far, he ordered to build a garden at the foot of Longevity Hill, modeling after Jichang Garden, and it was completed in 1751. Later, it took on the name of Garden of Harmonious Pleasures, following its refurbishment in 1811. The garden was best known for being the place where Qianlong Emperor gave banquet to his ministers, enjoyed sceneries, and recited poems. Empress Dowager Cixi also loved to come here to admire lotus flowers and fish. The garden features waterscape. Around the pond, there are pavilions, terraces, halls, and chambers, being connected by a winding corridor and 5 bridges of different styles. The Hall of Far Vistas, facing to the south, is the most magnificent construction within the garden, and used to be where Qianlong relaxed while fishing. To the east of the hall, there are 2 pavilions. The square one is Lanting. Further east of it is a group of round pavilions named Xiaoyoutian, the highest place within the garden. Here, you can have a full view of the gate, as well as the landscape of the Longevity Hill. To the south of Xiaoyoutian is the Zhichun Hall, a place where the emperor would meet and discuss with the ministers about urgent state matters during his stay there. To the west of Zhichun Hall is the Know the Fish Bridge, the best known among the 5 bridges of the garden. It is the best place for fish viewing, since the bridge's body is close to the water surface. Walk through the bridge and continue to the west. You will see several waterside pavilions, which are closely connected to each other. This is the best spot to view the whole garden. The waterside pavilion of Yinlu is best for admiring lotus flowers, and also Empress Dowager Cixi's favorite place of fishing for pleasure. By way of this red Zhichun Bridge, as we set foot on Zhichun Island, we come upon the Zhichun Pavilion. Spring is a very important season to the Chinese people. It symbolizes the beginning of each new year, and standing on this island in spring, one can witness the winter ice melting into flowing water. This serves as an early indication to the people of spring's arrival, telling them that they can begin to plant their crops. Thus, the reasoning behind the island's title, Zhichun, meaning knowledge or signal of spring's arrival. To disclose another bit of knowledge, Zhichun Pavilion's location allows one to clearly look out on Mountain of Long Life, Kunming Lake, Jade Spring Mountain, and provides the best view of the West Mountain, as well as many more of the Summer Palace's other beautiful symbolic landmarks. Continuing along the east bank, we come to this stone bridge. The bridge in total has 17 arches and is therefore named the Bridge of 17 Arches. To the Chinese emperors of old, the number 9 was the most auspicious of numbers. Thusly, with this bridge, one would count 9 arches from either end to the middle, and the island it connects to is called the South Lake Island. During the time of the Empress Dowager Cixi, if one were to take a boat from the city into the Summer Palace, one would first come upon the South Lake Island, then arrive at the Dragon King Temple, whereupon after burning incense to pay respects to the gods, one would again continue by boat across to have a stay at the Happy Life Hall. The Qianlong Emperor of the Qing dynasty toured south of the Yangtze River 6 times and fell in love with its enchanting scenery. The West Lake in Hangzhou was his favorite, which was evidenced by the fact that he had the West Causeway built on the western shore of the Kunming Lake in Beijing Summer Palace. The West Causeway was modeled after the Su Causeway in the West Lake, with willow trees growing along it. The long causeway were connected by 6 bridges, each unique in style. The Jade Belt Bridge, one of the 6 bridges, is the only one made of stone and has a long history of more than 200 years. It serves as the symbol of the West Causeway. It used to be called the Arch Bridge or the Hump Bridge, to capture the particular shape of its high and thin arch, and was later renamed the Jade Belt Bridge in that its body and balustrades of white marble and bluestone conjure up the image of a jade belt. Its ornate bridge railings are decorated with exquisite carvings of red crown cranes amidst clouds. It is said that Qianlong Emperor was sure to take the route passing under the bridge every time he took a boat ride from the Kunming Lake to the western hills, not only because it was convenient, but also that he was fond of this ingenious and charming bridge. Apart from this bridge, the remaining 5 ones are all pavilion bridges, each with a pavilion sitting on it. This is the Pavilion of Bright Scenery, composed of 1 main building and 2 side wings. It was much frequented by the emperors and their empresses for recreations, such as viewing koi and the flowering lotus. Lotus flower has long been used by the Chinese to symbolize good fortune and love, and there is no like of verses dedicated to it, praising it as rises from mud, yet still possesses an enchanting beauty, unsullied and pure. Unlike conventional cultivation, lotus flowers in the Summer Palace are planted in a way that takes the overall landscaping into consideration, meaning that the spacing and height are decided in light of the scenery on the shore. From June to August, when lotus flowers are in full bloom, the entire lake is covered with drifting lotus leaves and graceful lotus flowers, a cool and pleasant feast for the eyes indeed.